Oh shit, let me fix this overlay because I'm hiding Zach.
What, did you do it?
No, the charger.
Is it not a charger there? There's one in the wall right there.
I know.
Oh,
Okay. No.
Okay.
Also, your video isn't coming through. I don't know if you're aware of that part.
Oh, I'm aware. So on the stream, there's an overlay with my webcam.
Switch this way just a little.
And it's live. Thank Christ.
So you can hear us on there?
Was live. What the hell? Why am I watching someone play Rocket League now? What the hell? Yes, I can hear you. And you can hear me?
I can hear you.
There we go.
It says you're hosting.
Give it a second.
There we go. Okay, I see you now.
Ta-da! Alright. 5 minutes late, but welcome to the LB2 podcast. I'm Eternity.
I'm Bree, and this is our guest today, my husband, Zach.
Hello.
My brother.
The most beautiful woman.
The most beautiful woman. Alright, so now...
No, woman, not woman.
For the first time ever, we have 3 boss on the podcast. Woo.
Yay!
It's too many.
Oh,
I know. We could've... You were our backup plan. The person I wanted here couldn't be our guest today.
Fine, I guess I'll just...
To be fair, we've been trying to get her
second.
on since the beginning, so...
Yeah, she was gonna be our 3rd person, because normally the format for this, we were gonna have 3 people. Fortunately, her schedule doesn't allow for it.
Right.
To be fair, her schedule doesn't allow for her to be living.
This is very true. I had to get on a waiting list to talk to her about an issue like 3 weeks ago.
Mood.
So how you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Doing okay.
Felt pretty good earlier. Which is better than usual in this situation.
Yeah, sluggish. Lazy.
Very sluggish.
I feel like I'm getting lazier as this quarantine goes on. Like, I'm wanting to call into work more and more frequently.
I never called into work.
As long as I complete 1 task a week, it was a successful week.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't like it.
I need to get to work. I've got my driver's test in like 2 weeks, and then after that, I'm gonna work on actually getting a job and then being busy with my life.
Busy with your life? What does that mean?
Well, because like all I do is like I clean up the house, I make dinner, make breakfast on occasion. I got to get back into that because 2 weeks I did nothing. And then lunch is just kind of a whatever because he's not here for lunch. He's here for like breakfast and dinner. So
Busy with your life?
With work, even if it's like 3-4 hours a day, I'm still driving somewhere, driving back, and then.
Did you just magic a Dr. Pepper into a root beer? Okay, I knew I saw a Dr. Pepper can. I was so confused.
We got our own each.
Yep. I don't like root beer. He likes Dr. Pepper. I got him root beer so I can have the rest of Dr. Pepper. It works.
I'm on the same page as you, Bree. I don't like root beer.
I like black licorice and I like vanilla, but the fact that they kind of, those flavors are in there together, plus it's not.
I don't taste black licorice.
Well, okay.
All. I don't even taste vanilla.
Root beer has a lot of people say it's got like a licoricey black licorice taste. It depends. If you like black licorice, you're more likely to say it stands out like black licorice.
You know what root beer tastes like?
Root beer.
Yeah. Alright, voices, reasons, sir. I think, doesn't root beer not have caffeine either?
It does not.
Yeah, because I think that's part of the reason I don't like root beer is because when we were really young, that's all the soda that we were allowed to drink was root beer.
I was only allowed to drink Sprite.
So, I got tired of it. Yeah, my Aunt Christy always had Sprite in her fridge.
I like Sprite though. It's a feel-good soda. Like I like ginger ale too, but Sprite is just, it's got that sugary lemon lime feel-good taste. So you get sugar, you get feel-good, and you get bubbles. Everybody loves bubbles.
That carbonation.
Although I'm weird, I like flat Dr. Pepper on a good day. So.
Yeah, I don't mind flat soda. I prefer carbonated, but I don't mind the flat.
Just out of curiosity, is there a way you could turn your video on Discord as well as have the stream up? It's fine if you can't, but...
Usually it should have populated by now, but I can show you my screen. It's just loading, trying to get it in. And I've checked the settings, and it's on my webcam. There is one other thing I could try, but I don't know where the other webcam. I have a backup webcam that's usually plugged into the Xbox that can pick up my video. Actually, I think it's right there.
It's all good.
I'll be right back.
If it loads, it loads. If not, no biggie.
For a minute there, it was trying to, whatever my Elgato was capturing, it was trying to use that as my webcam. So you just would have seen you double.
So what are your problems with Elgato and Streamlabs?
So
I forgot what you said.
I've been having massive problems with Streamlabs. Not Elgato. Elgato works no problem for me. But I tried to move over to Streamlabs because I got their little subscription pack, because it was on sale or whatever, and there's more stuff I can use there, like thumbnails, alert sounds, overlays that move and stuff like that. And so I moved over there, and so how it works is Elgato captures the footage, sends it to Streamlabs, and then Streamlabs sends it to Twitch.
That sounds like a long process. Is that why you had a lot of latency on your streams before?
A little bit. Usually if there was latency or something, there was like a connection lag with either the viewer or with my internet connection. But with Streamlabs, I am able to control the latency a lot better. Unfortunately, for some reason, I was able to stream Ori and the Blind Forest, no problem. But trying to stream anything else has been super difficult with Streamlabs. There's constant bitrate drops or connection issues, and I can't figure out what they are. I've researched as much as I can. I've decreased my bitrate because I found out that I was putting out too much. And then once I did that, it was fine, but then everyone was saying it was lagging, and I checked the recommended settings. I have it all there. I've checked my drivers. Everything's up to date. I think just Streamlabs on top of Elgato, on top of Twitch, is too much for my tiny little laptop to handle.
Maybe.
I've understood none of that.
Or it could just be Streamlabs not personal, but their hardware server whatever, or software is going through some issues. Maybe they need a patch or something.
Uh-oh. I did something, uh-oh.
I see
there
that.
We go. Yeah, so I need to research more and try and figure out what I did wrong, how I broke it. And now this is a new issue I'm having, where my webcam doesn't want to show you guys me. So
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
I've just been full of technical difficulties lately.
I think we all have at one point or another.
I always joke that you're not a true streamer until you have difficulties. Oh, I hear the poppy!
You can hear her?
I just heard a tiny little bark.
Yeah.
Don't worry, there'll be more.
So how does it feel to be back home, Bree? Because you just got back from a trip.
It's very nice to be home. I love my family to death, but my mom and I are just too alike, and my mom and my grandmother are even more alike, where they're very specific. They like things a certain way, and when things don't go their way, they butt heads really hard. And with only having my grandparents for transportation at the moment, it's so hard to get anything done with the whole family when everyone's butting heads. So it was nice. It was really nice, especially seeing my great grandparents, my great uncles, whom I haven't seen in a very long time. Nice to breathe that clean Oregon air. Freshest air I've breathed in like 9 years. And then my brothers are getting bigger. Dom is like up to like my chest now.
I don't think I've ever met any of your brothers.
Sean,
I think you might have met Sean.
Sean, you may have. I think he knows who you are just because we lived in the same town at one point. At one point.
For years, maybe?
Forever. Sean is like 6'2.5" now though, and he got
Jesus.
like he filled in. He's not like chunky, he got fit a little bit, but like he's tall and he's lean. And so it's kind of scary because like he could just move me aside or like any other person aside and like just it's I don't know how to explain it, but he's
Oh,
And
I understand 100% what you're talking about, having a brother that's older, that's taller than you.
oh my god, it's scary. When I first saw him, it was initially going to be a surprise because he was in Cali for 3 weeks. And when he got back a couple days after I was there, I didn't know he was there. I woke up, I went out into the living room, I woke him up, and then he stood up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then he went to go hug me, and I was like, I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, hugs are overrated. So
The
how
weather
was
was
the
nice, though.
flight like? How was the TSA and all that stuff with all the safety measures and precautions?
Well, one thing was weird is one thing that is weird is I don't know how long they've had it, but TSA has a pre-check-in. I don't know how it works because I didn't know that was a thing. But people apparently you can check in early somehow before you hit TSA, and then you kind of breeze through the line. It's kind of like a fast pass, and then you don't, for the most part, you don't have to take your shoes or jacket off. You just have to do everything else like valuables, electronics, whatever. And then you jump through the line fairly quickly. TSA, they're a little grumpy because people are being really defiant about like the masks and not wanting to wear them or stuff like that, thinking it takes even longer to get through when really it's about the same. Airport security, or not, like the health security, they are, most of them require masks at all times when you're in the airport. I didn't have any problems, especially when I was like just sitting with my mask down in my own seat. Airlines though, if they see you without your mask on for, if like you're not eating anymore or drinking anymore and your mask is just off, even below your nose, if they see it long enough or they see enough people just sitting like that, they will make a little overhead announcement saying, like, we require you to wear masks at all times on our flights unless eating or drinking are otherwise specified. And if you can't follow the guidelines and requirements, then you may not fly with whatever company in the future.
That's probably just an automated message played every so often.
No, the flight attendants personally make it.
Oh, you're talking about there.
Yeah, like on the plane.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
on the plane.
Yeah. One thing I flew 2 different lines though. I flew on 2 different airlines. I flew Delta on the way out, and then on the way back I flew American Airlines. Delta, the way they're booking their flights is they're putting people who buy flights or like buy tickets together, and then like I flew by myself. And so for planes that had like 3 seats, I had a whole row to myself for all 3 flights, 3 or 4 flights, however many it was.
That was nice.
It was very nice, especially because if I had a window seat, I could sit middle, aisle, whatever. They probably would have said, oh, but I could have sat.
The only thing that they have to worry about is the balance of the plane, and
yeah,
whichever one of those seats you chose is fine as long as there's not a dozen other people with you.
Yeah.
So.
And then American Airlines, though, American Airlines, they filled in their planes. So like the whole time I was next to somebody or had somebody a seat away from me, I didn't like that as much, but I also understand that, if you have a plane, you need to fill it in order to make your money, meet a quota. So, American Airlines, they were okay. I've never really had a problem, but some of the flight attendants were a little more grumpy. Like they weren't taking much crap from anybody or like letting much slide. Like I was putting up my bag. I had a carry-on with me, and I was putting my bag up, and one of the flight attendants came over, and my bag was like a couple inches from the side of the bin, and he came over and like made sure it was secure and pushed it in, and then just walked away. He didn't say anything. And then another one, there was this older woman next to me. She had her mask. It kept slipping off her nose, so she kept it off. And I didn't have a problem with it. There was nobody next to us. It was a 2-seater, and a flight attendant came over. And this was the first time this lady was asked to put her mask back on over her nose. And the flight attendant just sassed. Like, it was really harsh. And I was like, well, everyone else has their mask on. It's just below her nose. I'm sure it's not a long flight. It's like an hour-and-a-half long flight. Unless you really think it's a problem, I didn't see a need to come over here and, sass her. Other than that, no problems. Nothing major.
Yeah, and with the assassin, I assume that's not her first fight of the day, so she's probably had to say that multiple times throughout the day, and it just gets repetitive, you know?
Yeah. No, I definitely understand where the flight attendants are coming from because like I said, a lot of people are like, well, intolerant of the masks. I myself did not enjoy wearing a mask just about the whole entire time from when I left here, South Carolina, to Oregon and then back. I practically suffocated, even though the planes were cooled. It's still, air limited for the most part. And then the airport's really hot, even though they had air conditioning. So I get it though.
And now, I know California went back under lockdown. Texas currently isn't on lockdown, we just have regulations. Is South Carolina still on lockdown?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I flew out of Georgia though, so wouldn't really know.
So I'm assuming Georgia is not on lockdown anymore either.
No.
As a matter of fact, there's been some stuff. It's a little old now, but there was some political issues with Georgia. So a whole bunch of, from what I understand, a whole bunch of cities in Georgia had started making it mandatory to wear face masks. And then Atlanta did it. And that's when the Governor Kemp of Georgia, had a problem with it. And then there's been some sort of dispute with the governor saying you can't do that, even though a whole bunch of cities have already done it. It was as soon as Atlanta did it that the governor had a problem. I don't know where we're at with that now, but last time I checked, there was controversy.
I do want to say, when I was up in Oregon, just a few days before I got there or was even planning on flying out there, Kate Brown had made it mandatory that masks were worn just about everywhere. Parks, stores, libraries, pretty much anywhere where there's going to be public contact and, the mixing of a lot of people and children. And it was kind of weird because my mom, of course, she works in healthcare, frontline healthcare. She was like, "Oh, you guys everywhere," and I was like, "Is that just like, do you want us to, or like I have my mask?" She's like, "No, it's you have to, or the stores have the right to turn you away." So.
Oh, see, and I know out here in Texas, it's a couple $100 fine if you're caught without a mask right now.
See, it's a very interesting standpoint. Because depending on who's telling you to wear it, makes all the difference. If it's, like if you're under 18, it's your mom telling you, okay, you have to because it's your mom and there's no legal whatever. If it's the government telling you to, can they really tell you to? That's where a lot of the problems with like Governor Kemp saying you can't force it and then the city's forcing it. It's really hard to gauge who's in the right and who's in the wrong legally. If it's the stores, they have all the right to deny it. But when it comes to the government, it's a gray area, I guess.
And I believe legally it's a city by city, at least at first here in Texas. It was a city by city discretion on the masks. And then I believe it was end of June, beginning of July, the governor mandated it for all of Texas. But now there's like posters up in businesses with like, don't enter this unless you're wearing a mask, because businesses were getting fined for people not wearing their masks inside their stores. Because they weren't enforcing it well enough.
So I do believe that people should wear the masks, like everyone everywhere should wear masks, but I don't think it's the government that should be imposing those rules. But then again, if the government doesn't do it, then no one's going to listen to it.
Yeah.
So.
Also, did you see the controversy on social media about these, I don't want to use the stereotype Karen, these women who feel they're entitled coming up with the invisible masks?
Invisible masks? Like they're clear, or like they're wearing masks but there's nothing there?
I've seen everything. So they're clear, so like you can see their lips basically, but there was one woman that just basically got tape and put it over her mouth. There was another woman that got an old lacy bra and just cut off one side and used that as a mask. There was somebody that just got mesh and put it on their face, and they're calling them invisible masks. I don't think they're really understanding the point, but
I would just pure defiance, I would thinking, oh, anything could prove as a mask. Well, no, because masks are technically made to be filters, though it doesn't filter everything, especially not air you need to breathe.
Right.
Like lace or tape's just gonna suffocate you. If you want to use tape as a mask, go ahead. Just that's what is it? Selection or
natural selection?
Natural selection. There you go.
Well, see, and the lady that had the tape mask didn't even have it over her nose. And that lady, I believe, she said that she didn't get any comments on it. She went to Disney World.
She went to Disney World with a tape.
Yes.
That's because Disney doesn't care.
Well,
they're literally opening a place that's so packed together that you're rubbing shoulders with strangers, all for money. They don't care if you have a mask on or not. They might say that they do, but that's only because that's how they stay in business.
All the Disney World parks are open all four of the, at least 4 of the main ones. I don't know how many there are, but I looked.
There's Disneyland in California, Disney World in Florida, and I know there's one in France.
And there's one in Hong Kong there.
I was going to say something, but I don't know places. But yeah, they're all open. And then they're doing everything, all or anything that like requires ticket exchanges or anything like that, purchases. They're trying to get everything on mobile so that you have to use your phone rather than, do a whole lot
something
of
like that Disney would already have all the virtual stuff.
I'm sure they do. Like, when I was last at Six Flags, they already had like the Flash Pass where like, well, of course they've had that, but like that's just like an electronic, like, hey, this is my ticket, and also I'm jumping the line. And then we have Apple Pay now. Most people have like Samsung Pay or whatever you call it for Samsungs and Androids. Virtual Pay.
There you go. You got there.
Yeah.
But I do believe also Disney is, at least from what I was seeing, was taking at least a little bit of precautions.
I was looking at that when I was
probably
looking at
just
Disney
as
World.
a publicity stunt. What is it?
I have to find it.
Do you know off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, no. I'll be honest. I researched a couple. Oh, I just barely looked at the news this morning. I saw Trump was pulling troops out of Germany, and then a bunch of video game news. And that was it. Usually, I will research news articles for us to talk about on this, and I didn't have time today. I spent my entire lunch break in a meeting.
That's not fun.
It is not.
How is work?
Work is work. It's a little stressful, and it was a little rough on Monday, just because I fell down. But my biggest problem with work right now is just the driving to and from work, because in Texas it is so freaking humid. Like, I got out of the car, and I was like, my hands are sticky. Why are my hands sticky? This is gross. I hate it. But other than that, work is fine.
I know. I think the worst state for humidity is Florida.
I will second that. I've been there like 5 days out of my whole life.
I've been
gross.
Texas, obviously California, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, Georgia. Florida's the worst.
See, maybe I haven't been to Florida during peak humidity season, but in my experience, I spent maybe an hour or two driving through Louisiana, and the one time I had to stop there, Louisiana by far is the most humid state I've ever been to. I think there is more humidity than anything.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of bad things about Louisiana in general. We just don't talk about Louisiana.
we don't do that here.
Yeah, no, I just drove past it to get to Florida. And that was
back to Disney real quick, while I've got it up. So, I mean, they have a read more option at the bottom of each thing, but their guiding principles, they have enhanced cleaning, physical distancing, and reduced contact, the phone thing I was talking about. I guess they're probably going to have, markers on the ground, but I think what they might try and do is they might try and do some sort of like banner or the weird little rope things or something. I think they might do something like that just because I feel like that's something they could do, and that just sounds like Disney to me, but I could be wrong. It could just be like, place markers, and if you stay away, you stay away. If you don't, you don't.
And the type of social distancing that's happening there right now is weird, because like when I came back into the office from working from home, the first day there, I noticed that there was like stickers on the floor, like stand here to wait for the elevator. And in the elevator, there's 2 stickers in opposite corners saying only 2 people per elevator. We have 3 elevators, thankfully. And then I would get up, and I finally went to the bathroom for the very first time, and every other bathroom stall is locked down. You cannot use every other bathroom. You can only use one, and then there's an empty one you can't get in, and then you can get in the next one to try and help with social distancing.
I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, they're bathrooms. You're separated already. I don't know.
But if you're pooping for 10 minutes, two people squat at the same time and they're there for 10 minutes, the air is gonna circulate through your mask and everything.
Yeah, I guess.
But do you really poop?
Yeah, and they don't go through. Well, I mean, either way, they don't go through and clean each stall after everyone uses the bathroom.
Hey, God,
anyway, so.
Do you poop at work?
Yeah, our bathrooms are nice.
So are ours, but I'm just like, pooping at work is the weirdest.
Well, I'd rather poop in the toilet than in my pants.
I mean, just wait till you get home.
What if he goes to work at it's like 8:22 and he's like, oh, shit, gotta shit, and then he's sitting there the whole day and 2 o'clock hits and he's like, I'm not gonna make it home.
Do you not know your bowel movement schedule?
No, because I don't have a consistent
That's true.
routine, especially with the COVID going on.
Yeah,
that's fair. See,
I
know my bowel movement schedule because growing up, Mom always told me, if you think you're sick, you can tell by the amount you're using the restroom. If you're having more than a certain amount of poops a day, when you're used to only having this amount of poops a day, there's something wrong and you need to go see a doctor.
That only applies if you have a consistent routine.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. I mean, I'm technically on a semi-consistent routine. Once, give it 2 more weeks. Give it a week and then give it 2 weeks max, and then my body will be used to being at home just about all day, every day. And then Poppy's got a schedule. I've got a schedule for just everything, not just going to the bathroom. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you train your dog in a potty schedule. Can't you train your body?
That would be impressive, although she doesn't really have a schedule, but she does poop around the border of the yard for the most part, so that's nice. We didn't have to train that one.
I will say, when I started thinking of this podcast and who I wanted, I never thought we would have a dedicated conversation for poop.
It's a basic human... whatever.
Well, at least you understand where I'm coming from, Brie, and I think for me... I think I'm scarred on the whole pooping at work situation, because when I worked at California, me and my mom worked at the same place, and there was 2 days I had taken off because I was sick, and I came back the next day, and there were so many emails about human decency and being respectful, because the 2 days I was out, somebody had gone to the restroom and pooped, but a child decided they wanted to play with their poop and they smeared it all over the walls and countertops. It was disgusting and the janitorial squad had to clean it. They didn't want to clean it. I guess they sent a picture to HR and HR issued a statement. I don't know what happened. All I know is 2 weeks later, I was still sick, so I went to the hospital and I got seen by a doctor. The next day I came in and it happened again. So I have alibis for the 2 days that it happened, but ever since then I think I've been scared to poop in a bathroom.
I don't know why people do that.
I don't want to work in an office environment.
Neither do I. I don't want
my desk job. Just I'm skeptical about off poop because of that. And women be gross sometimes. I'll see women leave their pads on counters, and I'm like, you're not much better than those kids that would wad them up and throw them on the ceilings when we were in school.
Yep.
That's worse.
I don't understand.
What do you mean much better? That's much worse.
No, they're probably the same people. The kids that threw them up on the ceiling when we were kids are probably the people leaving them all over the bathrooms now.
It's gotta be. I mean, you would think people grow out of that, but no. I guess not. I never did that as a kid. I've never, ever thrown a toilet paper wad anywhere in any bathroom I've ever been in.
I did it once, and I felt so guilty. I think I might have told the teacher on myself.
I've done that. Well, not that specifically, but guilt has convinced me to out myself to a teacher before. And I remember it was 7th grade math with Mr. Blankenship. I didn't do my homework the night before, so the next day I came into school, and everyone was always copying my homework. So first time ever, I asked somebody to let me copy their homework. I turned it in that same day by lunchtime, which was 2 periods away. I went up to him. I was like, Mr. Blankenship, I didn't do my homework. I cheated off somebody. There's no excuse. He's like, I appreciate you being honest with me. You're not going to take an F. You're just going to redo the assignment. You have until the end of the week. I was like, honesty gets you everywhere in life. I was so proud of myself.
I've never, ever cheated off of homework, a test, anything. If I didn't do the homework, I didn't do the homework. I just didn't turn it in. And that's why my grades were very low all 4 years. I did the classwork, I did the tests, not the homework. Except for theater. Theater, homework is your classwork, classwork is your homework.
My favorite telling on myself story was when I was in like preschool or kindergarten. And I remember reading a book with my friend, and it was one of those just real small, like 10-page books. And we were just sitting there reading word by word. And then we got to the word as, and it was just AS. And I read it, I like sounded it out, and I said ass. And then like 3 seconds later, processed what I had just said, and I was like, I said a bad word. And then I went and told the teacher, and I think she laughed at me.
I married a fucking goofball.
I was like, in kindergarten.
My favorite Zach toddler story. I don't know if you remember this story or not, Zach, but I remember Mom telling somebody the story while I was sitting there. But I remember when Zach was a toddler, when my grandma and grandpa were babysitting us one time, I was maybe 5, so you were maybe 3, and we were just making pigs in a blanket in Grandma's kitchen. You asked Papa and Grandma how much they had sex, how often they had.
I've heard this story, but I don't remember it.
You were so young, and I just remember when Mom picked us up being mortified when Papa pulled her aside and was like, what are you teaching your kid? He's 3 and knows about sex. Mom was like, he doesn't know about sex, he's just heard the word, and he rolled with it. That's my favorite toddler Zach story.
I don't remember it at all. I just have been told that story multiple times.
That's my favorite toddler Zach story. Although I will say, the other day I was thinking about, I was trying to picture what Zach looks like now, because it had been a minute since I'd seen him. And it was actually while we were all playing Minecraft together. It was like, picture what your brother looks like. Picture what your brother looks like. And the first image that popped up for me was Zach with his cheesy grin, missing a tooth, in his olive green suit from when he was like 4 years old. He's got his bald head and he still has his scar, because his scar was fresh by this point. But my mom loved that picture, and for years, I think she still even now has it displayed. But all I could picture was bald 4-year-old Zach when I was trying to think of my brother. And I'm like, he's a grown-ass man now. So to think about it was so weird in my head. And now looking at him with a fucking fuzzy on his face is just weird to me.
I love it, especially when it actually grows out, when he's got the time to grow it out and not care to shave. He's got like a little mustache going on, and then he's got like actual scruff down here where it looks like it's a beard starting. A legit beard, not, I don't know.
It's pretty gross.
It is gross. But then again, I don't care for facial hair at all. It just makes, nah.
I don't care. I'm not the kind of person who goes like, I like muscles. I like facial hair.
Well, obviously you don't like muscles.
No.
Obviously you don't like muscles.
I don't have any.
Hey, I had some.
He can lift me up.
I haven't had any in a while, but I had some at one point.
You know,
like
technically we
all
have muscles.
Just stuffed in your shirt doesn't count.
No, I've been thinking a lot about like when I was in high school and I exercised all the time. And I remember even like picking Mom up once and just how shocked she was. But
yes,
now
I remember that. That was
probably couldn't even pick myself up.
That was crazy. But then I feel like exercising was much more fun in high school because we had so many other people to exercise with, and we'd play games and stuff. Like,
partly that, but also, at least from my perspective, the reason why I enjoyed it so much was because it was part of my daily routine, like exercising in JRTC or PE, basically for anybody who doesn't know. Doing PE, I enjoy it. The stuff that I did, the volunteer exercises or activities I did were physically exerting. Those are the things that kept me in shape. It wasn't all the actual workouts that I did because I didn't do any of them. Well, until the last year, but I never kept up with it. Otherwise, maybe I'd be in a different situation right now.
You want to have a chunky belly. See, but also, that's why I'm a big fan of JRTC in general. Because of JRTC, I did so much more exercising than I would have if I was just in PE. Because I wasn't just work out 2 times a week. It was work out 2 times a week, but we had this event coming up, so we need someone on softball, we need someone on soccer, and volleyball, and tug of war,
Yep.
and everybody always wanted to sign up for everything, to the point where you were being
Yeah.
subbed or kicked. I remember one comp, I think it was the comp in Turlock. I was on the football team, I was on the volleyball team, I was captain of the softball team, and I was supposed to be on the D&C team. But because I was doing all 3 sports, they kicked me from the D&C team. And I remember being so devastated, but because I was on so many teams, I actually got to ride in the van because space was limited.
Yep. I remember times like that. I remember setting up competitions like that. It's more fun to set it up and be on the team, even though you really aren't on the team because you're too busy running around setting everything up. I remember setting up one of the internal comp. I don't know if you remember, but the
I
comp just like
remember,
that.
because I remember
But
Mantica
for
High setup and
MHS,
takedown comp so much better than Unions.
yeah.
But we also
I
had
was
to be in
running
uniform for EU.
across the entire campus back and forth, making sure everything was good. And I still got a couple bats in at softball. I played the full game of volleyball, and I think I played a little bit of football, but I couldn't actually finish either softball or football.
And MHS had archery a couple of years, too. I think they were the only school that really had archery.
That was a long time ago. That was like over 20 years ago.
No. They had archery while I was there, because I wanted to do it, but Colonel wouldn't let me go to the archery range to learn it.
I'm almost positive they didn't.
They had it at least 1 year, I know for a fact. I remember seeing them bows. Sir.
Yeah, we have the bows, or they have the bows still, but they don't do the tournaments.
Hanako Jones won for us, I believe. I think it was Hanako.
I remember her.
Yeah, she's great. But I actually remember you at bat for softball, because after I graduated, I ended up umpiring for the next internal comp you guys did for softball. I remember having to pull all the coaches aside and all the SAIs. I was like, look, I graduated from East Union. I was in ROTC 4 years. My brother is now in Manteca High ROTC. This is his 4th year. I will try to be as unbiased as possible, but if you feel you need it any other time, let me know and I'll have someone replace me. I told them that knowing if I told them that, they wouldn't replace me because they didn't have any other umpires, so I couldn't be replaced. But
honestly,
because I did that, they trusted me so much. They're like, no, we trust you. And then I think the MHS game, I ended up calling it to where they lost. The East Union game, the very first one, they won. And then after that, they lost. So they're like, this bitch ain't biased.
Oh, you're not talking about an internal comp?
I'm talking about Manteca High as an internal comp.
We didn't do East Union versus Manteca at the internal comp.
No, it wasn't your 2 teams. The first team was MHS and Western Ranch, I believe. And then it was Ripon and EU. And then EU won and they went up. And then it was EU against Mount Diablo, I think. And Mount Diablo won. If I'm remembering correctly.
I don't remember.
It's been a long time.
I honestly forgot the names of those schools. Hearing them is kind of nostalgic.
I have some friends that are probably graduating this year or this past year, but they were in ROTC when I left. And then they had siblings, and so I still kind of get the posts every now and again when my friends are going to their siblings' comps and stuff, so I kind of still get the updates on what's going on with the art programs.
Yeah, the first year I was getting updates about JRTC, but I don't think I've gotten an update about JRTC since I went back. So September.
It's weird how those things work, because like right after your high school, you have a couple months where you're seeing it, and then you just have 2 years of silence or a couple years of silence, and then those younger siblings come up, and then you get all the news again.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, speaking of news and stuff, Zach here, my brother, lovely brother, is in the Air Force, and our cousin Austin is about to be going to the Marines. So, did you see the article today about Trump removing troops from Germany?
All I heard is exactly what you said, that he's withdrawing troops from Germany. Don't know anything more than that.
Face value, okay, I didn't read too much into it. Face value, it sounds good to me, but then, like, the subtitle was saying how it's going to cost so many millions of dollars to do so, and it's going to take a very long time to be able to enact such a thing.
Those variables aren't really what's important. What's important is why are they there and what are they doing there? what's going to be the actual fallout of them leaving?
Hasn't he pulled troops out of numerous other places already, or? Yeah. I feel like that makes it look
Not
like
really
we're.
sure.
I feel like it makes it look. I feel like it makes it look like we're trying to fortify ourselves and kind of.
It really depends.
A little more.
Well, have you seen 2020? This would be the year to fortify.
Yeah.
Most of the world views the United States as a global police more than a threat. The people that view us as a threat are the people that we consider bad guys for the most part. Everybody else kind of is like
the very few.
Like they're the police. They're not good. They're not bad. They're just here to take care of what we had. Like anyway, so us being pulled out of places is like saying, okay, hell can reign free there. We're not going to mitigate it unless there's someone else there to take care of it, which in Germany, I'm pretty sure they've got their self under control. So I'm not going off of any facts here. I don't know what the situation in Germany is, and I don't know how much we're pulling out or whatnot. But I assume the European Union can handle their self militarily just fine. Whatever else we might be doing over there is a different matter, so I don't know if it is a good idea or not. I'm just saying as far as defenses, they're fine. As far as being policed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, from what I understand from the few un-Americans that I do come in contact with, or non-Americans, a lot of the rest of the world views us as a joke because of our, well, to be fair, we've earned it, but like all these mass shootings that have happened over the years and the lack of resolving it, and then the stupidity that just flies out of some people's mouth.
Yeah.
I'm not going to point any fingers.
Okay, well, to kind of counter-argument that, you could say that about almost any nation. Like, for example, China. What's the first thing you think when you hear China?
They own
Sweatshops?
everything.
What's that? They
the
own
first thing
everything?
I think is they own everything.
They own us.
Right. So you know that there's like Hong Kong protesters. There's the communist China. There's different factions of China. There's a whole bunch of stigmas with China. It's the same thing with America. You can't judge the entire nation of China because of the protesters, you know? But it's more like, okay, there's protesters. They don't like their government. Now we know that about China. That's a stigma that's now attached to China. It's the same thing in America. It goes both ways. We see every other country. They see us. And they take one thing that they know, and it becomes a stigma.
To be fair, I can see why, because we're constantly having we're always having riots, and we're always having
the stigmas are valid,
and
it's just
shootings.
It's just still a stigma, whether it applies to everybody or not. It's still just the way we're viewed, regardless of the truth. That's what I'm just getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Most stigmas are true, or at least stem from
some
something
kind
that's
of
true.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because
I mean, hey, we're Americans. We do like our guns and our burgers and whatnot, but that doesn't mean everyone does.
I had that quote list: guns and burgers. Well, speaking of very American type things, Zach, what is this about energy drinks we wanted to discuss?
I asked him for a topic.
Is there some news thing or something?
No, it's...
She said, what should we talk about for the stream tonight? And I looked at the room, and I saw an energy drink, so I said energy drink.
I had a coconut Red Bull, and then from there he went, okay, what about lawn care? Hey, what else did you say? And I was like, my sister doesn't even have her own lawn to tend to. And he said that she'll just have a more ignorant view about it.
An ignorant view. Excuse me, I used to mow our backyard when we lived on Burnell.
No, you didn't. I mowed that lawn. You cannot claim that. You cannot claim that because that backyard was huge and it took an entire day to mow.
Whenever you were sick, I would have to mow. I remember having to mow that lawn. Or whenever I needed money.
Probably mowed the lawn once and now takes credit for it forever.
Back to the energy drinks.
To be fair, I think I mowed that lawn twice. And I mowed Aunt Brandy and Uncle Victor's lawn once for money.
That was a pretty big lawn, to be fair. At least the front yard was.
Yeah, the front yard is the only one that I had done.
That's tiny. That's
I remember
literally
it big, but that's okay.
They are, Belle.
Energy drinks.
What's your favorite energy drink?
Brand, flavor.
Well, story about energy drinks. When we were kids, I used to drink them all the
Hey,
time.
look, there's a good reason I said energy drinks. You have a story, so that means it was automatically a good idea.
Well,
Anyway,
you
continue.
said that, and I used to drink rock stars growing up, and then my mom read somewhere that it stunts your growth or whatever, and she told me that if I kept drinking energy drinks, I'd be the shortest boss forever. Ironic considering how short all the boss typically are, but so I wasn't allowed to drink energy drinks anymore.
Isn't the myth or whatever that caffeine stunts your growth, not
I thought
energy
so.
drinks?
Yes, but mom had convinced me it was energy drinks specifically. Because then again, you really shouldn't have a 7-year-old drinking energy drinks, and I was drinking them like I drink soda now. So when I became an adult, and I got an energy drink for the first time, it was because I had been working overtime nonstop. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was working Monday through Friday, 6 to 6, and then I was working Saturday, 6 to noon. I was exhausted. So this Friday was coming up, and I think it was that Friday was my birthday, and so I wanted to be able to work my overtime shift and then go out and have fun with my friends. Because I believe this was my 21st birthday, to be specific. So I got an energy drink. I got a Monster energy drink, just a generic original one. And I sipped that whole thing. I never actually finished it. I got halfway through by 6 o'clock that night. And the entire day, my coworkers were so pissed off at me because I was so hyper. My legs were bouncing, causing the entire floor to shake. Everyone's desks were rumbling as I was working because I was so, like, wired on energy. So I'm not allowed to drink it. And then when I moved out here to Texas, like, no one knows this rule. And so I tried it again. I got a Bang. Because everyone had always told me how great the Bangs were, and I found the unicorn flavor or whatever it is. I got about 1/3 of the way through before someone literally came to my desk and threw it away and told me to stop shaking my damn leg because we were on the 5th floor. The entire fucking floor felt like it was gonna fall in on us. So I'm not allowed to drink energy drinks. But I've had Rockstar, Monster, Bang, and then I've had Red Bull with Jaeger.
I don't. I have no comment on that one, but
Okay.
I don't like Jaeger either.
So that was a Monster. You know how much caffeine is in a regular Monster?
I do not.
86 milligrams. Do you know how much caffeine's in a regular cup of coffee?
Probably more than that, but I don't drink coffee either.
95 milligrams. Have you ever heard of the energy drink Bang?
Yes.
She was just talking about it.
I thought you were talking about Monsters.
No, she's talking about all 4 of the main energy drink caffeinated beverages.
My apologies. Anyway, guess how much caffeine is in a can of Bang?
More than coffee?
Guess how much?
I don't know, but I want to make a bang for your buck joke.
I'm gonna say 103.
Okay, I wanted to fact check before I said it.
Really?
300 milligrams.
That's a lot of bang for your buck.
3 times as much caffeine as coffee. And you know what the daily recommended caffeine intake is?
Isn't it only...
600.
Oh, I was gonna say
I know
240.
people who had 3 bangs a day in Pensacola.
Well, there was that whole thing a couple years back about somebody only drinking Monster or drinking too many Monsters, and didn't they die?
They had
overdose.
They had Monsters and like coffee, or they had 2 types of caffeinated beverages, and they drank numerous Monsters and other drinks X amount of times for a very good chunk of time, and that's why I think it was a teenager, and he went into cardiac arrest and died. And I remember that because there was a whole ordeal within my not biological family, but close enough friends where they are my family. My cousin Jade, she's like 16 now, around there. At the time, she was like 11, 12, maybe 13. And she wanted to start getting into Starbucks. She liked the occasional iced coffee her mom would bring home. And I had just started drinking coffee and the occasional Rockstar. And my uncle, whenever I was at my aunt and uncle's house for like a week in the summer or a couple weeks, I wasn't allowed to have coffee or anything caffeinated other than soda because they'd read that online and they didn't want anything like that to happen to us. They were very strict about it.
I could not function without soda, like, right now. When I went grocery shopping, I didn't replace my Dr. Peppers, and usually I get 2 24 packs of Dr. Pepper to last me until next payday. but I'm trying to cut back on it, so I didn't buy any pack of Dr. Pepper. But I caved last night, and I specifically went and got McDonald's for dinner so that I could have soda. It wasn't about the fast food at that point. It was I needed soda, and I needed it now. Otherwise, I was going to kill Theodore.
I have times where I'm like that, where I want sugar, and like we don't keep like a whole lot of like candy or too many snack foods in the house. Like we have like those we have that Toll House tub of cookie dough, and my teeth are funky because I have like I have a cavity on like each side of my mouth, and I haven't been able to have sugar or super acidic fruits on the left side of my mouth for a long time. And then now, if I put too much pressure or there's too much sugar in something, I can't have it on my right side either. So I can't have the cookie dough. I made cake the other day, and like eating the cake, I had to be careful, and I had to have the frosting on the bottom so I could eat it. But like soda, that's because it doesn't directly go up into my teeth with pressure. It just swishes around my mouth and then down my esophagus. I've been trying to cut back as well, but every other day, I think I'm okay. Some days I want to. I don't get to. And then when we eat out, I definitely get like a Sprite or a Dr. Pepper.
See, and I'm used to drinking, if I have cans of Dr. Pepper, I'll drink 4 cans of Dr. Pepper in a day. If it's a bottle, I'll drink 2 bottles of Dr. Pepper a day.
No. See, I don't know.
It's not good.
While I was up in Oregon, I know Zach and I weren't the healthiest. We try and monitor. We try and have 1 can a day, if anything. And if we eat out, if I already had soda that day, I try and get water. I'm pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was up in Oregon, I bought myself a 2-liter Dr. Pepper, and I drank the whole 2-liter over a course of like 3 days. That's the most soda I've drank in a day, or well, at a time, for a while. So I was not feeling good. I ate like crap up there, and I know Zach had like 2 sodas a day for
water is where it's at.
I have been better about my water. Like when I lived in California, my rule was if I drank soda at work, I would drink water at home, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
If I drank water at work, I would get to drink soda at home. But since moving out to Texas, the first couple months I was really, really healthy. I was being good. I was eating right, and I was regulating that stuff. But as I got more and more comfortable, it's just become I drink soda all day, every day. Since I didn't buy soda this paycheck, I don't have anything to drink at work, so I've been forced to drink water. I had, out of the 2 weeks it's been, I did have a single cup of coffee. But that's because my coworker wanted me to try this Starbucks, like they got the creamer with the Starbucks, and they had the whipped cream and everything. So it was basically a cup of whipped cream with some Starbucks in there for me. But other than that, I've just been drinking a whole bunch of water, and I feel better. But I'm slowly starting to have those caffeine withdrawals, because I remember when the first time I tried to quit soda, because I had drank it so much, it was when I was debating on going into the Navy, and I was trying to lose weight. And I know if I just cut soda out, that would be a big help. But because I cut it cold turkey, I had caffeine withdrawal so bad that I was stuck at home in cold sweats with a fever, could barely move. It was so bad. And I promised myself I'd never get to that point again. And because I'm starting to get to that point again, I'm slowly weaning myself off of it.
Do you like tea at all?
I do not. Unfortunately.
See, I would have suggested any type or brand or flavor of tea, because I'm an off and on tea person. For my senior year of high school, I had our pantry stocked full of Lipton black tea, and then I also had Lipton or Bigelow green tea packs. And when I was at home, I would have, especially on my mornings where I was more than an hour late, I would have like a little not little, but a mason jar full of warm, not hot, unsweetened Lipton black tea, just tea bag and water, no flavoring, no nothing. I would have that, and I would drink that before I went to school, and that was my little caffeine boost. And then I would have my own personal water bottle, where it was like a liter or a liter and a half, and I would have green tea, and I would make it fresh so it would be cold, and throughout the day it would get a little more warm, and I'd try and fill it up with the cool water at the coolest fountain in school, so that way I had hydration and made my tongue and my body feel a little better. And then as soon as I got home, I would drink black tea again, just as is, warm, hot, cool, however. And then I would occasionally trade out for water. That way I wasn't just having a whole bunch of leaves put into my body. But Yeah.
I will say I do have a story behind why I don't like tea, as with most of the foods and stuff that I don't like. I don't know if Zach remembers this story, but when I was in 5th grade, my mom had to take me out of school for a dentist appointment. So she took me out, did my dentist appointment, and afterwards I'd missed lunch, so we went to El Jardines in Manteca, one of our Mexican food restaurants. And
Is this you or all of us?
This was me. It was just me and Mom, because you were still in school, you didn't have an appointment that day. And me and Mom just decided we'd share a drink that day, and we got tea, because Mom loves tea. And so she dropped me off at school, she took the leftovers and the leftover drink, and then later that day when she picked us up from daycare, that cup was still in the car, and I was thirsty.
I thought it was a water bottle.
You had fermented tea?
It was a styrofoam white cup of tea. But my mom is a smoker, and she's been known to use old bottles and old cups in her car to put out the cigarettes so she wouldn't have to throw them out the window. And I got in the car, I got in the front seat, I was thirsty, I was like, cool. Before Mom could say anything, I took a very deep drink of cigarette ashes. And vomited all over the car. Mom went and bought me a soda with the last, $2 she had in her bank account, so I could get this taste out of my mouth. But ever since then, I have not been able to drink tea without tasting cigarette ashes.
At least you don't have a taste for cigarettes now.
Right? Yeah, no, I am not a smoker. I try to avoid all that stuff, but yeah, tea I start gagging thinking of when I swallowed cigarette ashes. Oh, it was so bad.
I actually just bought green tea. I want to buy some more just plain black tea. I have chai tea that I make on occasion, add a little milk and sugar. And that's pretty good once it gets cold, but I think I'm going to try and get back into drinking tea. And then the occasional soda, although I want the ones that aren't, 12? I want the 8 fluid ounce cans.
The smaller one?
Yeah, I want the smaller ones, but I can't find those. I might have to look. I'll try and look
those ones
deeper.
are more expensive. They're not hard to find. It's just hard to find the flavor we actually want. Dr. Pepper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I want 8 fluid ounces of pepper.
Yeah, that should be easy to find.
I haven't been able to find them. I mean, at Walmart strictly, but anyway.
Yeah, I think Kroger has them, but again, Kroger are more expensive.
Have we seen Kroger out here?
Yeah, we've seen them, but it's not worth driving to.
No, not unless we find the dog food.
Even
let's switch it up.
That's not really worth.
Anyway, I'm not big on my body. When I was younger, when I lived with my aunt or my mom, whenever, my mom and my aunt would both be really strict on the caffeine thing for all of us kids because I 3 siblings, way younger than me, way more hyperactive than me. My whole family would not let us have soda unless there was a rare occasion where we ate out because we didn't eat out much when I was a kid. So we would be allowed to have one of the really small kiddie-sized sodas, and we could pick whatever we wanted. We all usually had Suicides, go ham. But
what are Suicides?
What are Suicides? You know how you get a little bit of every drink at the fountain drink station except for
gotcha. I didn't
except
know that
for water. Yeah, they're called Suicides.
Everybody has a different name for them.
I've never heard anything else. What have you heard?
I can't remember, but I remember me and my friends called it one of 2 things.
They don't count. You can't remember.
Everybody calls it something different.
That's true.
Because every kid who thinks of it's like, oh, this is a totally unique idea. No one's ever thought of this.
At least me and my friends, we called it Fountain Roulette.
I guess.
I like that better than, what was it?
Suicides.
I don't even know where that one came from. I might learn, but yeah. I don't think caffeine really affects me very much. Although when I drink energy drinks, I went from Rockstars. I went from strictly fruit punch Rockstars to Monsters, just baseline Monsters, and then the occasional random flavor to coconut Red Bulls. I think that was my jump. And now I just drink them for the flavor. I started to drink them to see if they would help give me a little energy, and they do. But that's if I drink it all in one go. I like to drink things slowly compared to how I eat. I eat things in a second. But drinks, I can drink one, it could take me 4 hours to finish a 12 fluid ounce soda.
She doesn't eat as fast as she says. She eats as fast as she drinks. Just
no, okay, whatever. But that's why I only eat today. So caffeine doesn't really have time to take an effect, or it doesn't get a chance to because I spread it out so far and so thin that it's just I guess the caffeine will probably be we could do this, and it's nah. not right now. Maybe later. And then we get to that point where I go to drink more, and it's like, nah. But yeah, as a kid, it never really affected me either. So I think it just really depends on how my body's feeling and whatnot. Or like if I went from a Red Bull to a Bang, then I'd be hanging upside down from the ceiling.
A funny story. I thought up until I was 21 that Red Bulls were alcoholic beverages. I thought they were beer. And the only reason I found out is because on my 21st birthday, my mom was lining up all these alcohols for us to try before we went out to Vegas to celebrate. She didn't want to waste money on alcohol I didn't like, so she made us a Jaeger bomb, which calls for Red Bull. And I was like, Mom, you can't put beer in hard liquor. You told me to never do that. She's like, Red Bull is an energy drink. She was so disappointed.
Red Bull is used in a lot of alcohols.
A lot.
That's true.
Red Bull's good. I like Red Bull.
Yeah,
Costco collected Red Bull cans.
That's an interesting.
I collected the Starbucks Frappuccino bottles. It's like the caramel ones I put in because I collected pennies, and at the time I had very few belongings when I was living with my dad. I had my own room. I put a whole bunch of the Starbucks bottles on the windowsill, and I put and like the caramel one, I put pennies. I like to collect pennies, and then like the white s'mores ones or the white chocolate, I put nickels, and then another one I put dimes. I was a whole mess in high school.
I still think Zach had the coolest collection out of everyone I've ever met.
What was that?
Hot Wheels?
Yeah. Do you still have your Hot Wheels collection?
Nope, I have no idea where it is. Probably in Mom's storage.
Even Sean would have gotten along swimmingly for a time.
My mom did this whole project for him, and it was so cool. His bedroom, the whole back wall was lined with his Hot Wheels.
That was pretty cool.
Like your family's pets?
Yeah, like that, but it was only one wall. It was pretty cool, but I never was actually into it. Well, okay, it's half true. So it was just my grandpa or somebody.
Yeah, he had inherited half of it.
He split half with me and half with my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Now I have a whole bunch of Hot Wheels. But I never
think
opened
Austin
them.
played with his. You just
Probably.
Because you weren't interested in them.
Too.
You collect.
I wasn't interested in playing with them, so they just sat around, and then my mom hung them all on the wall, and then it became a thing. Like every time I went to the store or on my birthday or something, we would get like 10 of them because there was like 10 for $10. So it just became a thing.
My brothers collected them for a long time too. Sean used to know. He used to know so many cars by name, make, model, year, people who like created them and stuff, and all the way back when. I was like, what? Like we would just be driving on the road, and he'd be like, this is that is that is that is that is that, and it's also that, but modified. And I was like, dude, you're like 7. Why do you know all of this? And then my brother Ryan, who is a year apart from him, did the same thing. So every time it was 4 of us kids in the car with my mom, it was just my mom getting hyped up about like all these cars and how her boys knew like so much about cars at so young. And I was like, kill me now. Yeah, I really thought, kill me now.
The only time I ever actually got interested in cars and actually paid attention was the biggest fundraiser for the East Union JRTC for us was at the end of the year. We would do a car show. So I was trained how to inspect a vehicle for any blemishes, for anything out of the ordinary, for cosmetic, for usability. We were trained to judge these cars. So that is the only thing I know about cars is what I learned from there. And so I can't tell you make, models, or anything. I know what a PT Cruiser is because that's usually the category I was stuck in. And I hated that category.
Yeah.
It was so hard for any PT Cruiser to win whenever I was in charge of that category because I hated it so much. Usually I would look at the paint and look for scuffs. I would always find at least one, and I would dock them immediately 10 points.
I can't stand Kia Souls, and I can't stand PT Cruisers. Ugly fucking cars. Well, ugly vehicles. They're not... whatever.
It's funny you say that. I almost got a Kia Soul.
It's an Amazon box on wheels.
It is. And that was the only thing I didn't like about it, but inside there was so much space, and there was so little blind spots for me because when I was buying a car, I was so scared to be driving in the first place that I didn't want to inhibit myself anymore. And then I found and researched for a year before I bought the car I have now. But I'm so glad I did that because even like the guy who we were gonna buy it from wouldn't even let my mom test drive it for us.
Oh.
Some people wouldn't let me test drive. I understand. I only had my permit at the time. But most people would still at least let my mom test drive it, and then she would give me feedback. This guy was no. He put her in the passenger seat. He wouldn't even let me in the passenger seat. I had to be in the back seat while he drove it, and my mom was in the passenger seat.
Oof.
Yeah, it was a horrible experience.
The only thing I really liked about the Kia Souls was the commercials with the Lady Gaga song. I like Lady Gaga, and
With the hamsters dancing.
yeah, well, no, they weren't dancing. It was more like they were getting ready for like a premiere, and then like they'd be like all working out and stuff, working off a little bit of chub, and then like they'd show up and they're all like in suits, and they're like, look, ladies, we're here, and I was like, damn. I'm not like in a, like a weird
hamsters had
way,
more
but I was
game
like,
than all of us combined.
I was just like, wow. I was like, they really made hamsters look attractive. Not like I thought they were attractive, but like.
Well, we know what you're into.
No, like they made like they.
Is that
like,
why you're
clean
growing
cut,
out your hair, Zach?
Huh?
Is that why you're growing out your hair?
No, stop. I meant like they made him like clean cut, looking sharp and stuff. Like somebody like I don't know. They were gonna go get some honeys that night. I don't know.
Well, on that furry note, I believe it's time for us to end this podcast.
Okay.
Well, now we all
question.
know. Yes.
You playing Minecraft after this? You want to play Minecraft after this?
I might be able to make it. I'm not gonna make any promises because we do have someone trying out for our Overwatch team. But I need to be there to help out.
Thank you, Belle. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm not a furry.
So, thank you so much to Zach for being our guest this week. And there's that stoic face that I grew up with. And thank you, Bree. I'm glad you're back home safe, and I will see you next week.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Oh shit! Where's the button? Where's the button to edit? There it is.